And my topic today is seeing beyond what I see. Seeing beyond what I see. As we were talking about last week, vision is not just about sight. When you have a vision of something, it doesn't necessarily come with a full picture. A vision is a sense of possibility. Vision is more of an energetic field than it is a full-on graphic depiction of something. So sometimes it's because we can't get a picture of what we think it might be, we don't go deep enough in allowing ourselves to have a vision of it. So let's say, for example, I don't necessarily know exactly what kind of career I want to have. So because I can't think of the particulars in terms of the industry or what I want it to look like, I don't vision deeply enough about it. It's like I'm waiting to figure out what it's going to look like and then juice that up. It's the other way around. You go into a deep place within you that says, what am I about? What am I about? What are my gifts? What kind of difference do I want to make in the world? How do I want to show up? And you get a feeling tone of that. And with that feeling tone, things start to appear. It's almost as if you were having let's say you were having a party or some kind of reception at your house. And you call up the chef and you say, I'm going to have about, 40 people at my house, and it's not going to be sit down, but I want something like a little bit sweet and something that looks good, and it's easy to walk around with, and, all these things. What do you have? He says, well, we've got some, flaming sorbet, whatever. You go, ooh, that sounds good. We've got some kiwi, pineapple, mango. Ooh, wow, that sounds good. Stuff you would have never thought of. Are you with me? Things that you couldn't have even imagined. In my career that I've had now a number of years, I've been a consultant since '88. I don't market in the sense of going out and looking for jobs. They find me. The good you seek is seeking you. Because the intent is so strong that the good that I seek is seeking me. And the assignments that I get, I would have never known that they were there. Are you with? They're outrageous. They're just outrageous. My birthday's coming up soon, in a few weeks, and I remember my birthday last year, I had been scheduled to speak at the MLK convocation that the university puts on here. And then I got another offer, and I just called them up and said, hey, I really would like to do this other thing. So I got a chance to go to Yale University to speak at a conference called the Black Solidarity Conference. It's this conference that the students put on. This is about their 23rd year. And it was specifically about spirituality and sexuality. Who knew? Who knew? It's like in my wildest dreams, I couldn't have come up with that. Are you with? But I have a vision. Catch what I'm saying. I have a vision. I have a vision of health. I have a vision of wholeness. I have a vision of pulling it all together. I have a vision of us living in a place of integrated wholeness, between issues like race and gender and class and national origin and all these different kind of things, where we're not carving out and we're not separating ourselves, but where we are standing in a place of wholeness. Are you with me? If you allow yourself to have a vision, just a sense of where you might want to land, you don't have to have the specifics of what it's going to look like, but you know if you want to make a difference. You know that. You know if you want to make an impact. That's something you know. You know if you want to see people uplifted and empowered. You know that. You know if you want to see things, a playing field that's leveled a little bit more and making a contribution to that. That's stuff that you know. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. So what we do too often is we look at the facts, and because we can't see our way through to the facts, we stop visioning, or we don't vision enough. See beyond what you see. I contend that most often we have absolutely no idea of what we're looking at. We have absolutely no idea of what we are looking at from so many different levels. One, the magnitude and the majesty of what we are looking at. We are looking at people and we are passing them by on the street or engaging with them all the time, and we are clueless as to who they are. We are clueless as to their story. We are clueless as to their gifts and their talents and their talents and all the things that they have contributed and all the things that they are being. We are clueless. That's part of what I find so phenomenally frustrating about what's going on in our immigration policy here in the United States. If you have people who have traveled thousands of miles with their children on their feet with nothing, I can tell you right now, these are not people who are coming to the United States to see what they can get. They are people coming to the United States to see what they can give. They're coming because they have something to give. They have something because they're coming because they have something to offer. And they're just looking for a place and a space where they can be more of the all that they are. They're like, what do you see when you're looking at stuff? What do you see? We miss the magnitude of it all. We have no idea what we're looking at. We cry when we're happy. We cry when we're sad. Because crying is just what we do. When we're so full of emotion, we can't handle it. If you saw somebody just boo-hooing, you wouldn't know if they were happy or devastated. You wouldn't know. Labor looks like somebody's dying. If you were just looking at that and listening to that, you would not think that a beautiful life was coming through. And I tell you, if there really are some pearly gates, and I get a chance to ask, I only got I can accept almost all the weird stuff. But divine design, I really want to know, what in the world did you have in mind in live birth by having something so big come through someplace so small? I'm just saying, if we could design the galaxy, couldn't we have come up with something else? I'm just saying. But we don't know what we're looking at. Do you feel that? We don't know. We get sick when we don't deal with our stuff. We get sick when we are dealing with our stuff. We don't know. I know for myself personally, when I really get like a bad cold or flu, or something like that, it's not just because germs are going around. I'm purging. I want you to catch that. I'm purging. So people, oh, you're so sorry that you got a cold. Oh, so sorry you're sick. And it's like, no, baby, I'm happy. Some people, it hits them physically first. My body tends to lag. So I go through all of my changes and whatnot first, and then my body catches up. So the toxins, the impurities, the stuff that needs to be released, it's almost like my body goes through some kind of post-traumatic stress afterwards and gets rid of all this stuff. Are you with me? But we don't have the right to judge people about what's going on in their life, because you don't know. You don't know. There's so much more that's going on beyond what we see. So it means we have to have an open-ended sense of possibility. Our theme is about vision. It's not just judging. I spoke last week about how our minds want to fill in the gap. Whenever there's missing information, our brain makes up a story as to what the conclusion is. And part of the spiritual practice is learning how not to do that. Part of the spiritual practice is learning how to live in the not know, to live in the spaciousness of choice. Love that phrase that Jeffrey Lyons gave us in class. To live in the spaciousness of choice, to realize that I don't know, but because I don't know, I don't have to fill it in. I don't have to fill it in with dire stuff. I don't have to fill it in with negative stuff. I don't have to fill it in with what I think is most probable. It's okay to just not know. Are you with me? Yes. And that's where the juju comes. That's where the power comes. In this open-ended place of pure possibility. We fill in the gap. And the problem with that, see, is that every time we think, there's a synapses that connects. So we get hardwired. Our beliefs are basically networks of neurons in the brain that have developed community because we have thought the same things so many times that the thoughts that fire together wire together. So here's what we're up against. It's a preconception, it's a prejudgment. That when something happens, your brain is scrambling around to try to make sense of it, and it's going to assign to it something that's familiar to it, something that it already knows. So can you see, we get in this loop-de-loop of attitudes. We get in this loop-de-loop of opinions. I see you acting a certain kind of way. It's like Pavlov's dog or something. I've associated that action with this thing over here. I see that action, and automatically I'm assuming that's what's going on. We have to see beyond what we see. We don't know. I'm getting a flash right now of a story Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker told years ago. And she was saying that she was giving a sermon, and it was something that she said that was just like slightly controversial in her mind. She wasn't exactly sure how people were going to take it. And at that moment, this guy gets up and walks out. So she's going through the whole service of, oh my God, I said something, and how many other people, or blah, blah, this or that. So she feels it's incumbent upon her that she's offended or said something. So she goes up to the guy. She sees him later, and he says, no, I was hungry. I left and had breakfast and came back to the second service. You don't know. That's one of the things that I've learned to love the most about myself, and to be able to laugh at myself for the story that I created in the not knowing. Have you ever done that? Where you just got a little piece of information and you can't figure out the rest of it, and we make up this whole big story about what was going on. And it wasn't that at all. And it gives me a chance to take a look at my own thought. It gives me a chance to take a look at what's in my own consciousness. You hear me say often that there are at least two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. Yes? So it's similar to that. There's what I see, and then there's what's really going on. Do you feel the difference in that? There's what I see and my interpretation of what I'm looking at, but then there's what's really going on. So my prayer is always, reveal to me what I don't see. Do you feel that? Reveal to me what I don't see. What am I missing here? What's going on that's beyond my capacity to really discern in this moment? So rather than coming as a surprise, it's my expectation. I walk around with the expectation that whatever I see is just a smidgen of what's really going on. And knowing that what I can see is so small. You can only see what's right in front of you. You can't even see what's behind you. It could be that close or upon you, but you can't see it because it's behind you. Catch the metaphor of that. How much is that the case with the good in our life? Stuff is like it's about to tap us on the shoulder. Hey, I'm here, but we can't see it. And because we can't see it, we're denying what's there. So we're in the wintertime. And where we live is this interesting kind of paradox, I guess is the word that I'm using. So we're here on the Monterey coast, central California, just south of the bay. So for those of you who are listening, it's a redwood forest by the sea. And ironically enough, in the winter, we are the greenest. In the winter, it's lush. Because it's so dry during the year that our hillsides are just rolling green all over the place, and the grass starts to grow, and it really is beautiful. That green of new growth, it's such a vibrant green. And California has had a drought for so long that it's refreshing to finally be getting some rain. And not like of the El Nino proportions, but just rain, just like regular, refresh the thing rain. And we're mostly evergreen here. So in addition to being more lush in the winter, we're primarily evergreen, where these pine trees, these redwoods, they never lose their leaves. They're always, it's like the same. You would never know what season you were in by just sort of looking around at what's going on. But simultaneously, we do have some what they call deciduous trees. These are trees where the leaves fall off every season, right? So you'll have them next to each other, not like the East Coast where all the trees are bare. You have these bare trees sitting next to these full trees, and it's this interesting kind of juxtaposition between the two. Now, if you were to look at the trees that have lost all their leaves, it would be an easy conclusion to come to that that tree's dead. Yes? It looks like it. It looks like there's absolutely nothing there. And if you go to someplace like an apple orchard, where I live, there's apple orchards like up and around there, where all the deciduous trees, where the whole thing just looks bare. So it looks like somebody just came around and just killed everything. But is that the truth? See, it looks dead, but is it dead? No. And to me, it's the most amazing thing in the world to watch life come out of these seemingly dead-looking plants. And I just marvel at that. Like, what's in there? What's in that seemingly dead limb? Where a few months from now, parts of it are going to come out that look like limbs, parts are going to come out that look like leaves, and they seem to know the difference. We're not like micromanaging that whole process. Okay? And why is it able to come back to life? Because it's rooted in something, which you also cannot see. So you're looking at what looks like bare, and you can't see all of the life that's beyond the ground. You don't know what you're looking at. And so it is with us. Things have their season. Not everything blossoms at the same time. You know, my favorite fruit is peaches. There aren't any peaches around here now in January. It's just how it is. Everything in your life doesn't blossom at the same time. Are you with me? There are times for different things, times for different aspects of your life. And no matter how much you may want peaches in January, it ain't happening. Let it go. Don't judge the peaches. Don't be mad at the universe. Don't blame God for not bringing you peaches now. There's something else that season it is. Okay? There's something else whose season it is. Let go of your attachment to the peaches. You'll have peaches when it's peach time. But in the meantime, you're not going to starve. In the meantime, there'll be something else. Are you catching the metaphor that I'm using here? That you may not have everything that you want exactly when you want it, because things have their season. And because it's not blossoming right then, it doesn't mean that it's dead. It means that the circumstances have to create themselves so that it's the proper environment for that thing to blossom when it's supposed to blossom. We have seasons. And we need to allow ourselves to have seasons. There's time to let go and to be quiet and to clear. Okay. There's time of activity. There's time to be in community. There's time to be in quiet stillness. There's time to be creative and use your own individual talents. And it's time for you just to be a part of the everything that isn't particular to you at all. And we can have it all if we have this vision of being integrated and seeing beyond what we see. Every spiritual tradition will tell you this. They'll tell you, don't judge by the appearances. It's Maya. It's illusion. It looks like people die, like it's over. That's just an illusion. Any of you ever been there at that last breath of somebody? Raise your hand if you've been there. Couldn't you feel the life? When that last breath happens, it's like whoosh. There's this, it's just this energy, it's this field, it's this vibration. It's like, and you can feel it take up the whole room, just expansive, and it's breathtaking in that moment. And you look at that lifeless body, and you may be having all kind of grief and sadness, but you know they're not in there anymore. I understand why we refer to it as the remains. The remains. And it doesn't mean that we're not sad, but you are really clear. You are really clear that whatever that life force that was in there, it's not in there anymore. And wherever it is, it's not going to be buried. Whatever happens to these remains, that's not what's going to happen in this life force. So it is with us. There are different forms. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a relationship. It could be almost anything. And there'll be that point when it's time for that to expire. But whatever that life is in you, boom, it will be freed. It will be freed. You may not like the process of being freed. It's like that birthing thing that I was talking about. I don't know how babies feel about being birthed. It might be pretty traumatizing when you think about it. It's like Stephen Walters has this song, Baby Sings the Blues. And the first line is, my mama threw me out when I was now 9 months old. Now I'm, naked, whatever, and, shivering in the cold. And it's like, the process may not be pretty. Okay? The process may not be fun. Don't judge by the appearance of the process. If you're going from addiction to sobriety, you got to go through detox. Not pretty. Not particularly fun. But if you just look at somebody jonesing, you'll miss the fact that this is their step towards sobriety. If you just look at the scab on your skin, all hard and crusty, you're going to miss. If you look at that and just see that, you'd say, well, I want to heal. What's this nasty, ugly thing doing on my hand? It's the process of the healing. That's what's going to need to take place in order for the new growth to come. So if I don't want my skin to look bad, I want new, pretty skin. Well, on the road to new, pretty skin, there might be some scabs. Don't judge the scabs and say, I'm not healing. And I'll end with this. We're in a really interesting socio-political time, to say the least. See beyond what you see. There's a healing going on. See beyond what you see. There is a healing that's going on. Those of us who call ourselves progressive and transformational, we have prayed this moment into being. Listen to what I'm saying. We have prayed this moment into being. Anything unlike where you're trying to go has to come up to be healed. And you can't heal what you don't feel. You can't heal what you don't feel. So we've got to see some of this stuff. We've got to feel some of this stuff so that we can cleanse it, so that we can purify it, so that we can let it go, so that we can get out of denial that all of it is going on, and rearrange and reorganize ourselves in more sustainable ways. Okay? So hang in there. Hang in there. Don't just judge by what it appears to be to the naked eye and miss the healing. Okay? These are labor pains. And labor's not pretty. But there's something magnificent that's birthing. Breathe. I can see some of you like, I want to believe you, Rev. Are you sure? I'm sure. See, some of you are busted. I'm sure. I'm sure, because the same things that work at a micro level work at a macro level. It's all the same stuff. So whether it's your home, whether it's your job, whether it's your finances, whether it's the economy, whether it doesn't matter. Look beyond what you see and dare to have a vision of whole, of complete, of sustainable, just, fair, all of it. Let that be your vision. I'm getting an image now. I think it's an American Express commercial that used to be on, where it had this guy, you're watching him in his wood shop, and he's carving, he's doing carpentry, and very, very delicately chiseling out like an ornate, images and things for these bedposts or whatever he's doing. And the guy is blind. He's blind, and you're watching him feel. And I love this line. He said, I lost my sight, but not my vision. I lost my sight, but not my vision. Sometimes we lose our sight. Don't lose your vision. Let's pray. Let's pray. We turn within in this moment. And we know that something great, grand, and glorious is happening. It's called life. It's called life. And we give thanks for life, for being alive. In this moment right now, we open up wide to possibilities beyond anything that we could possibly imagine. And we say thank you. Thank you for a brighter day. Thank you for another way. Thank you for blessings too numerous to even count. We know that the divine makes a way out of seemingly no way time and time and time and time and time again. Just because we're not in control doesn't mean it's out of control. So we dare in this moment to trust, to have some confidence. We pry our little hands off of trying to manipulate and control everything. And we have a vision of done. Whatever that is, done. This relationship healed. Maybe it's with my parents or my kids or my significant other. Could be in the neighborhood, could be on my job, could be anywhere. Done. Healed. Regardless of what the prognoses are, regardless of what the diagnosis is, we have the audacity to see ourselves healthy, vibrant, flexible, in motion, healed and whole. And whatever can happen on this side of the veil happens on the other. But life will not be denied. We say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all needs met. Not just some of them, but all of them. Financial, emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever that may be. We're swimming in a sea of enoughness. Sufficiency is the order of the day. We pray this not only for ourselves, but for everybody. That there be enough food, clothing, shelter, clean water, fresh air, access to opportunities and education and health care and everything that it takes for us to be fully human. There's enough. There's enough. Gandhi said there's enough for everybody's need, but not enough for any one person's greed. So we live in the charity of generosity, that reciprocity of giving and receiving. Oh, it's good. We pray for Inner Light Ministries. Here in our 22nd anniversary. Who knew? Who knew what we would be? And we say thank you for having brought us from such a mighty, 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 mighty long way. And knowing it is still just the beginning. All needs met. We bless the children, that they find their way in a world that supports and provides for them. You pray for the elders, the same. We pray this for all of God's children. It is good, it is done. We get out of the way. We allow it to be. And so it is.